Welcome to a night of total terror.
In 1968, George Romero brought us Night of the Living Dead. It became the classic horror film of its
We
time.
must not be lulled by the concept that these are our family members or our friends. They are not. They will not respond to such emotion.
Now, George Romero brings us the most intensely shocking motion picture experience for all time.
It gets up and kills. The people it kills get up and kill.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
First came the night, then came the dawn. Now comes the most eagerly awaited day in horror film history.
Welcome back to Thursday of the Dead, episode 154. My name is Jace. This week's episode was inspired by a trip out to Citrus Heights last weekend, where my wife and I were doing some Halloween shopping. We looked into Michael's and the new Spirit Halloween in Birdcage Walk, which is next to the apartment building that I used to live in when I was 11. After we were done with Spirit, I asked to stop by Sunrise Mall out of morbid curiosity. I expected it to be dead, but I was shocked at how dead it really was. Most of the storefronts are empty now, and even the food court has a lot of facades up to make it look like there's more than there actually is. Back when I was 11 or so, that area of Citrus Heights was great for a kid. I could walk across the street, and the old Birdcage Walk outdoor shopping center had a bowling alley, a movie theater, an arcade, and a comic book shop called Comics and Comics. There was also a giant Toys R Us at the front of the center. So most of the things I liked were right there. My dad and I would go to restaurants there, and also the big indoor mall across the street from Birdcage called Sunrise Mall. My dad and I would often eat at Marie Callender's in the mall, and would go watch movies at the United Artists Theater inside the mall. Sunrise Mall had a bookstore I liked. I think it was called a B. Dalton, which I remember as the place where I bought my first Stephen King book, The Dead Zone, with my own money. It was on sale, and I'd heard of Stephen King, so I decided to give it a try. My dad and I moved pretty much every year, so we moved from Citrus Heights to Rancho Cordova the next year. I found myself returning on the bus to both Birdcage and Sunrise Mall over the years, especially in high school, where Sunrise Mall became the weekend hangout for me and my friends in high school. The place was popular and had a cruise around the area on Saturday nights. One of the big attractions for me was the movie theater. I watched a lot of great horror movies there. I happen to have done a lot of research on what horror movies played in the theaters in Sacramento, which was inspired by my time working at the Sacramento Public Library. My first search in the online databases was what theaters played Dawn of the Dead back in 1979. This gave me some interesting information. The first thing I didn't realize was that Dawn of the Dead played at Sunrise back in 1979. The second realization was that Dawn also played at the Tower Theater. Seeing as how the theater in Sunrise Mall has been closed for years, I ended up showing a 40th anniversary screening of Dawn of the Dead later that year in 2019 at the Tower Theater. Stay tuned for information on some cool screenings I have coming up each month at the Tower for the rest of 2022. I remember Sunrise Mall showed a lot of great horror movies through the 70s and 80s. I remember watching Re-Animator there for the first time, which is funny because I'm going to show that as my November movie at the Tower Theater. I never went to the midnight movies at Sunrise, but I've learned that both Sunrise and the Sacramento Inn had long-running midnight movies. Sunrise showed Dawn of the Dead for many years as a midnight movie. I lived near the area at the time that this was happening and would have loved to watch Dawn of the Dead on the big screen again, especially because it was playing during the years between 1979 theatrical release and the Thorn EMI home video release. It's sad to see this mall go, but it's happening to malls all across the country. I think this is more incentive for me to finally make my trip out to the Monroeville Mall while I still can. Thanks as always for watching, and here's a preview of the movies I have coming up at the Tower Theater, including a 4K restoration of Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue, 1 week from this episode on Thursday, August 18th at 7 p.m.
Ferma! No! Io sono... No! No!
this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead. Phantasm.
You'll never get credit for my discovery. Who's going to believe a talking head get a job in a sideshow?
It will scare you to pieces. See one dark night. You've never been this close to true terror.